Good afternoon, dear friends.
Good afternoon.
We welcome you from the National Nature Reserve, Hermon Stream Benias.
It's been 2 years since we haven't been here, and here again we have come here to invite you to an exciting journey to an amazing corner of nature.
See how much water is behind us from the Hermon of Benias stream.
Do you know, when we were leaving to Israel, our friends told us, "Oh my God, where are you going? It's a completely desert, some rocks and mountains."
And this reserve debunked such as a cliché or myth. Well, it was in 1997.
Well, it was in 1997. There was no YouTube to show everything that is. And today, please, we are traveling around the world and we are traveling through a beautiful reserve.
Let's to do it together. Forward! This high source of the Jordan River is born at an altitude of 390 meters above sea level. The Hermon River Reserve of Benias was founded in 1977 as a unique complex that preserved the nature, history, archaeology and hydrology of the sources of the Jordan River. The main filler of the water, the river Hermon Benias, are the springs emerging from under the cave on the ancient city of Peneda and the foot of Mount Hermon. Meltwater from the western and southern bases of the snow-covered Mount Hermon seeps into mountain channels and pores, feeding springs at the base of the mountain that form streams and rivers, including the springs of Benias or otherwise Hermon. The waters of source flow down in cascade and then rush along rather steep mountain slopes in a powerful stream in the southwesterly direction. At the springs surrounded by mountains and forests, the city of Peneda appeared here in the 3rd or maybe in the 4th century BC. Here are collected in a small archaeological park the remains of ancient Peneda and look interesting from different breeds. Here is an interesting contrast of stones. Look at the basalt rock. It is typical for this region of the Upper Galilee, Penedes, the foot of Mount Hermon, where we are, and the Jerusalem stone, which is very famous in the vicinity of the mountains of Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Hebron. Apparently, he was brought here. Thus, Peneda was a fairly wealthy city that could afford to bring a stone for its sanctuaries even from Jerusalem and its environs. In addition to architectural decorations, we still see a real pipe of the ancient world, those aqueduct. The huge complex of this reserve combines natural history, archaeology with geology, and environmental protection. In one place, here you can find dolomite, basalt and travertine rocks, which together form the richest habitats for the world of plants and animals. And of course, the flow of visitors to this park is inexhaustible, as is the water of these source.
It's just a miracle of miracles, amazing nature, and we will not deceive if we say that the north of Israel is perhaps its reddest territory. Water hits literally everywhere. It breaks out the ground and flows pure into the Hermon stream. Of the source will be more correct to say Hermon. Stunning beauty and incredible condition. Just the soul rejoices then it is here. Amazing. And of course, I want to draw your attention to one feature, because insofar as where is an incredible amount of water, then there are just the same incredible thickets of fig trees. Just great thickets. Look at the same huge amount of thick fruits. There is an expression, to live under a fig tree. It seems to be like even a wish in the East. Live under a fig tree. Why? Yes, because there is always the most important and necessary for us in the East. This is water. There is the shadows from the hot scorching sun, and of course, then the fruit ripening period passes, you can always get enough to these beautiful, sweet and juicy fruits. So, dear friends, you have probably already understood that the Panias Reserve is not only a stunning natural area, but also an archaeological complex, and this is proof of that. The fact is that here in Hellenistic times, the city of Paniada was founded, dedicated to a god of the Hellenes, Pan. I was familiar with this god from early childhood on the painting by Rubel, Pan. At that moment, I did not understand at all what kind of Pan it was. In my understanding, the Pan was a rich man, and I looked at him and did not understand this old man, not very handsome, one might even say scary, curly, this some kind of incomprehensible object. Now I already know that this is a magic flute of the god Pan, but I have known him since childhood. Although I did not understand, this is the largest niche was dedicated to the god Pan himself. By the way, the god Pan, when he was born, his mother, just frightened, ran away. Because he didn't look like a man, he was someone with the legs of a goat, with the horns of a goat, with goat hair. But his father Hermes, he was delighted with such incomprehensible child. He wrapped it in a sheepskin and carried to the Olympus. And the gods were very happy and had a lot of fun looking at such interesting creature. Therefore, Pan sounds like amused everyone. Such is the meaning of the word. So here in Paniada, perhaps one of the few, and maybe the only one, was a temple dedicated to the god Pan. Here is his cave, and cave is which source of Banias of Hermon originates. This is a large niche dedicated to the god Pan. It is perfectly preserved because it was cut down simply in the rock. And then there are also very beautiful niches that were dedicated to the nymphs, whom he loved very much, and they were afraid of him all the time and ran away, but they loved to listen to his beautiful playing on the magic flute.
well-known word panic, which denotes a strong phase of fear when a person does not control his actions and is ready to run anywhere in horror. As they say, headlong comes from the name of this deity, and fright or fear that appears without good reasons was attributed in antiquity in the influence of the god Pan. The Athenians believed that only with the help of Pan they defeated the Persians. This fear brought Pan to the enemies in the battles of Marathon and put them to flight.
It is not surprising that it was in these places that this god was worshipped in antiquity in the Hellenistic period, because this is the god of thickets and forests. This is the god shepherding and cattle breeding, and these are the words written during the time of the Emperor Tiberius by the historian Plutarch. The great Pan died. Subsequently, they began to mean such a meaning that one historical era ends and another historical era begins.
After the death of King Herod, the Holy Land was divided among his sons. So this part of the site of ancient Paneada went to his son Philip and was called Caesarea Philippi. Caesarea in honor of the Roman Empire, Caesar, and Philippi in honor of the son of Herod. Therefore, such a combination is Caesarea Philippi. The most interesting thing is that the Gospel of Matthew, the event of arrival of Jesus Christ with his disciples in the city in Caesarea Philippi, is described. Now, when Jesus came into the region of Caesarea Philippi, he was asking his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus said to him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, because flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I also say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overpower it." As our subscribers often write to me, how is it that Jesus Christ came to a pagan place? Yes, he visited the city with his disciples, but I doubt that he went to the pagan sanctuaries that dominate here in the city. Here he confessed the faith of his disciples, and in particular the Apostle Peter. Peter the first exclaimed, "You are the Son of the living God." There is specifically a gospel text that says that in this city, in Caesarea Philippi, which stands on the site of ancient Paneada, Jesus Christ visited with his disciples. In addition to the ruins of ancient Paneada, significant ruins of a monastery and a church from the Byzantine period have been preserved at the entrance to the reserve. We continue our route. Here you can see the routes marked with different colors. And let's see what surprises the wonderful Banias Reserve has prepared. The source, Gufta, is one of the sources of the Jordan River, of the Banias River, of the Hermon Stream, and a unique antique Roman bridge. Look how beautiful it is. See what a colossal volume of banias flow in this place. Why? Because the slope begins in the mountains, and to my right is another tributary. This is a junction of the Gupta and Banias tributaries. Fantastic bridge with a viewing platform.
And of course, how can people not use this powerful power of water? And don't build a water mill here. Right now we come here and so, dear friends, we see gum millstones here. We see here special devices for shading grain. We see here a water wheel, the real water mill.
And at this mill you can grind flour, if you wish, even now, because it is maintained in working condition. And next to this mill, Drew's cookies are baked. A cup of coffee with cookies, in the shades of trees and the sounds of the running stream, a divine rest. Well, all the same, I cannot resist not to touch the water. Look, the real mountain spring. Cold water, very cold. Fine water. That's right, it must be cold, because it is the melting waters of the snowy mountains of Hermon. And they, sipping like that, find their way through the rocks and flow down into the Banias River, the Hermon Creek. What is that purest, beautiful melt water of a mountain spring? I am just in a state of such extraordinary sensation because really the Upper Galilee and its nature are simply amazing. Groups of tourists continue their way to the waterfall, and we haven't visited the mill Tonberg. We will go to the waterfall in different way, or rather we will go to the waterfall, and not because they are so lazy, but because the beginnings of the path in the one place where we pack the car and the end of the path is in a completely different place. From the springs to the waterfall is about 3 miles. It is still easier for tourists. They brought them to the springs by bus, they took them away from the waterfall. And what about our car? There was little time left, so we missed the ruins of the Agrippa's palace and the city of Crusaders. There is a building on top of this mountain. This is the ancient fortress of Nimrod. We already have a video, Fortress Under the Clouds, with a trip to this very interesting place. We invite you to view. The link is in the description of this video. People return with smiles. This is great, yes, how else? Meeting with nature is always a joy. A difficult path, descents, ascents, all this is the worth of ultimate goal. The old harub or tree of John the Baptist spreads its trunk to pieces. This veteran was awarded a band to rest and a nameplate. Nameplates were also awarded to the old oriental plane tree. Here he is. This place is wonderful at any time of the year, but perhaps in March it's most beautiful, because all trees' right of nature is enhanced by a multicolored palette of wild flowers. And this is the end point of our today's journey. All these people go to the Big Benes waterfall. Huge streams fall literally from a height of 10 meters, and the slope of the fall is somewhere around 140 meters. And the route can be made from the Benes waterfall of the Hermon stream for probably an hour. You can get here and admire the magnificent view which the watch visitors do.
It's amazing, such power of water, but do you know why the current of water fails with such force? The fact is that over a course of 3 miles of the Hermon River, it descends 140 meters. Imagine, therefore, it rushed with such power and strength.
The water element, both life-giving and destructive, has an incredible impact. We admired the waterfall and the rapid flow of the water for a long time. And not only us, such as creations of Creator will not leave anyone indifferent. After about 9 kilometers, the source of Benes or Hermon will merge with another source of Jordan, which is called Dan. The group of school children we met at the mill, well all the way, and we met again. The opening hours of the park are coming to an end, and everyone is reaching for the exit. Dear friends, go out into nature more often, like me and Laura.
It will give you a lot of mental and physical strength.
Look at the mountains around. Hermon and Tabor rejoice in your name.
But Tabor is a little away.
Hermon is here, behind us. We wish you all strength, health, good mood.
Wonderful weekend. Goodbye.
Huge greetings from the Holy Land of Israel. See you next time. Goodbye. Dear friends, I invite those who are in Israel to my private excursion to the most beautiful corners of Israel. The phone number for contact via WhatsApp, Viber and Telegram is in the description of this video.